This is week one of a journey to get absolutely shredded. It's not necessarily a weight loss journey for me. That definitely has to happen, and it will happen as part of this journey. But the purpose of this is more of a documentary style situation of me just documenting the process of going through what it takes to get the best physique of my life. You know, I've trained for years off and on. I've been in the gym. I had a routine, sort of. I would go during work, lunchtime. We have a gym at work, and I would go and I would have some sort of a plan, and I would work out, right? And I felt decent, and I felt like I was getting stronger, but my physique did not reflect the work that I was putting into the gym. So what this documentary style series is about me really tightening up those aspects of the consistency and meal plan and sharing it. So I was at 260 pounds in February of 2024. Before that, I would say before COVID hit, I was in pretty good shape. You know, I would go to the gym every day. I was running, I was playing basketball. Then COVID hit in 2020, about March 2020, everybody went home. And, you know, this is not an excuse. It's just the reason. It's just what really happened. But I went home with everybody else, you know, with the lockdowns and everything. And I was working at home 100% of the time. Really let my routines go. And just enjoyed being with the family, learning how to make homemade tortillas, and just, you know, got fat. And, you know, that's okay. Got all the way up to 260 in February of 2024. I dropped about 20 pounds from then until about April of 2024. And then I stayed there until this past September. So September 2025, I started eating a little bit better. Not perfect, not following an exact plan, but that, coupled with going to the gym more regularly, helped me get down to 220. So from late November till my starting point, which was earlier this week, I had stalled at 220. And so I believe December 21st or 20th is when I started. And this first week, I was able to drop 4 pounds. But I will say that it was pretty tough during Christmas. You know, Christmas and the day after, you know, I just kind of winged it. Thought I'd be able to make the most of you know, what was available, and I just didn't make the best decision. So that was tough. You know, I need to learn how to cope with, you know, holidays and going out to dinner better, but we'll be discussing that, and I'll keep sharing these experiences with you. But, you know, currently my general conditioning, my cardiovascular health is decent. You know, it's not the best. It's not exactly where I should be. But I feel like if I needed to go play basketball, some pickup games, I feel like I could do that, just to kind of give you a baseline of exactly where I am. I could go play some full court basketball right now. I definitely would suffer and be huffing and puffing a lot, but I would be able to do it. You know, I'm not completely out of shape, but I'm just not where I want to be physically. And so that is going to be my focus over the next, you know, 90 days, 12 weeks at first. I'm just going to keep posting. So here's what my training is going to look like. I'm going to be training 6 days a week, optional mobility day or a rest day on Sunday. Today I chose rest because I have skinny legs and I worked them pretty hard doing some jump rope and calf raises and stuff like that. And I strained, you know, behind my knee a little bit. That happens every once in a while, especially when I start up again. I've started up so many times. So I chose rest today. I definitely want to have that mobility day going forward, because I really am really tight in the hips. I really struggle sitting Indian style. Shoulders are really stiff, so I'll be working on that as well. And so that mobility day is, I call it optional here, but it's really going to be necessary for me going forward to hit the goals that I want, because I don't just want to, lift a lot of weight. I want to be focusing on being able to move my body well, climb over a wall if I need to, be able to do a consistent amount of pull-ups. Right now, I can do maybe 2 really good pull-ups, maybe 2 3/4 pull-ups, and that third rep is really looking sloppy. And so I have a goal of 10 straight strict pull-ups by the end of 90 days, and then 50 push-ups. So I want to be able to do 50 straight strict form push-ups and be able to do, at the end of 90 days, just 1 pistol squat. And I cannot do that. So as I mentioned, I did start this week, and it really wasn't about trying to push a lot of weight or pushing my own limits. It was really just kind of establishing a baseline that I'm going to be able to repeat. And so I did that, and I'm proud that I was able to do that, but it's just a start. As far as my eating approach, I am really going to just be focused on structure. As I mentioned in the start of the video, I've never measured food. I've tried. I've never successfully and consistently measured my meals, never measured my calories. And so that's going to be a huge focus going forward, is knowing how many calories I'm putting in my body and hitting my macros. The best way I have found to do that, because I'm not good at using one of the apps to log these things consistently, I used AI to create a meal plan for me, and told them my age, my goals, my physical activity levels, and what I wanted to eat. Right, told them my favorite foods, and it spit out a really nice and doable meal plan that I'm using. So the goal behind that is to take all of the decision making away from myself, at least right before I'm about to eat. I don't want to have to make decisions when I'm hungry, because I make poor decisions when I'm hungry. So the meal plan is going to help me make fewer decisions. It's going to help me make repeatable meals, and it's going to help me, be satiated without dieting or feel like I'm dieting or dieting aggressively. I don't want to do that, and I'm not able to do that. I cannot sustain any sort of aggressive diet. So I'm just removing all of the chaos that comes along with trying to make healthy decisions in our busy lives. So some of the takeaways from this week, some of the things that I've learned, the hunger wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. When I stuck to the meal plan, I was hungry before I ate, obviously, but I wasn't to the point where I felt like I had to make a bad decision. So I'd be hungry, I'd eat, my protein-based meal with a vegetable and a carb, depending on the day. Sometimes I don't eat like a vegetable like potatoes if I'm not going to lift that day or work out that day. So as long as I'm sticking to the plan, the hunger was not near as bad as I thought it would be, except for Christmas Day and the day after. I definitely let it slip that day. For obvious reasons, I think. We were around family, and there was tons of delicious food cooked, and I just succumbed to the it wasn't any pressure on me. Nobody was pressuring me to eat, but the food looked really delicious, and I started with a little bit of brisket, and then I said, oh, what the hell, I'll eat some potato salad, and had a little bit of creamed corn. And it's just surprising how quickly those things just blow your whole day's worth of calories. So that happened on that day and the next day, because we have multiple stops on the holidays. And I didn't beat myself up over it. I got right back on it Saturday and Sunday. But those are things that I need to figure out or have a plan for going forward, so I don't succumb to those same temptations again. I did realize that I have to stick to my meal plan. You know, there's no way that I'll be able to wing it on those days or go to a restaurant and just trust myself at this point to just make good decisions. I've overate my entire life, and it's something that I'm going to probably continue to struggle with. And so these are things that I need to have a plan for, because it's too difficult to use willpower this early in the process. I did want to mention as well that I tried to prep too many different things on the very first day. So the last Sunday, a week ago today, I said I was going to prep basically 10 different meals, and I took on that undertaking, and it was extremely stressful, and it stressed me out, stressed my wife out. I have 3 young kids. I have 13, 10, and a baby, and so that caused a lot of stress. So this coming week, I prepped a lot less. I prepped chicken breasts, chicken thighs, and 3 different vegetables, and then I have rice that I made in the pressure cooker. And so that made it a lot more simple and less stressful, and it was only 2 cooking methods that I used, 3 including the rice cooker. So that was huge, and that was something that I can see as being sustainable instead of trying to prep 10 vastly different meals. That's not going to work for me personally. So this coming week, I'm going to make sure that I just stick with the plan, stick with my meal structure, and of course hit my workouts. I'll keep filming the workouts. I'll keep filming those and posting those. I'm posting on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and then YouTube Shorts here for all the workouts. And you know, I'm going to be following my meal plan to the T.